paid engineers to come out from New Orleans to work on the sugar mill, and she hired her own overseer. Well, that sounds like a good idea. She needed the help. But these men took advantage of her lack of business knowledge and started spending a lot of money on all sorts of things. And it sent the plantation into some debt. And while that was going on, she was ignoring the advice of her in-laws, the Ramon brothers, very shrewd businessmen. Their advice probably would have helped her. She didn't want their advice. So independent success was also a priority. Selena was going to have control. And that control did extend to her treatment of the enslaved community. In a letter that we have that she wrote to her son Henri, describing an incident with a slave named Rosalie. In this letter, Selena confidently claims, and I quote, "We will always be the masters." Well, she was pretty confident about that, but you and I know that history would prove her wrong. It's in 1858, 10 years after Jacques, that Oak Alley as a slave-owning plantation starts to come to an end. Henri is now a grown man, and he decides it's time for him to take over. He buys out his mother and his two sisters and begins to run the plantation. However, by this point in time, the plantation is in very serious debt. And between that debt and his promise to purchase price to his family, there was an amount of money he could never pay. So the family began to argue and squabble amongst themselves. Who gets what, who goes where, who goes with who. While enslaved people, like D'Urville and Miana, found themselves being negotiated right alongside things like the furniture. And their time here came to a complete end with the American Civil War and the end of plantation slavery. Of course, the South loses the war, the slaves are free, they're gone, there's no one to work these fields, and Henri cannot save Oak Alley. So the family retreats to their home in New Orleans, and Oak Alley goes on the auction block 1 year after the Civil War in 1866. And that was the end of this family's time here. They went on, more or less, but they were never here again. So decades and many others after the Ramon, Oak Alley is purchased in 1925 by Andrew and Josephine Stewart, wealthy couple from New Orleans looking for a place to retire. They conducted a full renovation on the house and made this their home. After Mr. Andrew passed away in the master bedroom in 1946, Miss Josephine decided she just could not live in that room anymore. So she moved across the hall to this room here. She had it painted her favorite color, lavender, and that room also overlooked her rose garden. And the reason why we bring that up is that before her death in 1972, at age 93, Mrs. Stewart established the Oak Alley Foundation. And it is because of her that we are here today. To understand life on this plantation, and more particularly how the lives of Jacques, Selena, D'Urville, Miana, and all of the others, although so very much entwined, were at the same time so very different experiences. And in her honor, that room's been left exactly as it was on the day she passed away in 1972, even down to her lipstick that is still in Jersey. So we do that for her. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to share with y'all that is right behind these doors. And once again, once we get outside, you are welcome to take your masks off for a minute, take a few photos if you like.